Good day, students. Uh, you are welcome to another episode of our lecture. We are going to start on chemical bonding today. What is chemical bonding? It is the coming together of one or more atoms to form a molecule, to form a compound. Um, there should be some factors that give room to coming together to form an entity. However, in most cases, when element A come together with element B, element A loses its initial identity, element B loses its initial identity to form element A or to form compound C with a different identity from A and B. So when you look at the periodic table, we have our period. We have the periodic table is divided into group and a period. The group is the vertical column, while the period is the horizontal column. So in the periodic table, we have about group 1 to 18. There are elements that favors bonding, irrespective of their position in the periodic table. Now, we are going to look at group 1 elements. Group 1 elements, generally, they are metals. They normally have a very small ionization energy, and they can react easily with members of group 6, 7, and group 6 and 7 element to form a compound. Now, we have three types of bond. We have three major types of bonding. We have the ionic or electrovalent bond. We have the covalent bonding, and we have dative coordinate bonding. Now take ionic bonding or electrovalent bonding, for example. This is a bond that exists between majorly group 1, group 2, and group 6 and 7 elements. Group 1, that's the alkali, group 1A, that's the alkali metal. Group 2, which is the alkaline earth metal. Group 7, mainly the halogens. And now what really happened in ionic bonding, there is a transfer of electron. In ionic bonding, there is always transfer of electron. Electron is transferred from a highly electropositive element in group 1 or group 2A to a highly electronegative element in group 6, group 7 for a compound to be formed. Now, in this case, we'll take any member of group 1 element, most especially not hydrogen. Hydrogen is in group 1 because it has one electron in its valence share. But however, it is not supposed to be there because it is not a metal. But however, we can take sodium, for example. We take sodium. Sodium has the electronic configuration of the atomic number of sodium is 11, with the electronic configuration of 281, and that of we take group 7. Chlorine is a very good example from the halogens. We take group 7. It has the atomic number of chlorine is 17. And we can write the electronic configuration as 287. In this case, what happened when we are talking of ionic bond, there is always transfer. It's all about transfer of what? Of electron. Transfer of electron. There is always this tendency for elements or compounds to assume octet or duplet configuration with a stable configuration. The stable or octet or noble configuration. So, however, in this case, it is very easy for the sodium atom to lose one electron to become 2,8 than for it to add another to make up 8. So therefore, there's this tendency that the sodium atom will lose an electron, while chlorine atom, which has atomic number of 17, to gain the electron lost by the sodium atom to form 2 8 8. And in the process, a compound is established, a compound with different property from the initial atom that make up the compound. Now let us look at it in this format. Sodium loses an electron, minus electron. You can also write it in this format. Sodium positive plus electron. It loses an electron to become a sodium ion, whereas chloride on its own, chloride will gain an electron plus an electron to form chloride ion, and a compound is formed, sodium chloride, with the configuration of sodium positive and chloride anything. This will give you an ionic compound, and this kind of bonding is known as ionic or electrovalent compound. It has its unique, the compound, the product formed normally highly ionic in nature. They are highly ionic and very, very stable to heat and electricity. Now we'll go to the second type of bonding, which is covalent bonding. Covalent bonding is all about sharing of electron. Electron is shared between two atoms. An electron is shared between two atoms, and a molecule is formed. A molecule is formed. I will take example of let's say hydrogen. Hydrogen will react with another hydrogen. Hydrogen with one electron react with another hydrogen. They share the single electron to form a hydrogen molecule with single electron, and a covalent compound is formed, and they are quite different from electrovalent compound. They are quite different from ionic compound, and they can also be it can also be a reaction between chlorine that is member of the same. It's a reaction. It's a sharing of electron between similar atoms. Now, for example, let us look at chlorine. Chlorine has the atomic number of 17 with 287. It reacts with another chlorine, which is another 287, and they can come together, and they share a molecule of chlorine. Molecule of chlorine is formed, and the bond between these atoms of chlorine is known as a covalent bond. Now we can also look at the third type of bonding, which is dative covalent bond. In dative coordinate bonding, what really happens is that there is a transfer of electron. There's sharing of electron, and it's a special type of covalent bond. There's sharing of electron in which one of the elements provide the shared electron. Will take, for example, our ammonia. Ammonia has a lone pair electron here, a lone pair electron, and with this lone pair electron, this lone pair of electron can be given out to hydrogen, ion, and a bond is formed, and that bond that exists between this ammonium ion, is known as dative covalent bond, and the bonding pair of electrons is provided by ammonia. That is that for today's lecture. What we are saying in essence is that generally we have three types of bond. We have the ionic or electrovalent bond, we have the covalent bonding, and we have the dative bond. And there are factors that favors the ionic bonding. What are those factors? Very small ionization energy. And what is ionization energy? Ionization energy is that energy required to remove the most loosely bounded electron from an atom. The most loosely bounded electron from So if an element has a very little, and members of first element in group 1 have little ionization energy, so it favors the formation of electrovalent bond. And the same thing, covalent bond is bond that is formed as a result of coming together of two elements to form a molecule or a compound. And in this case, there is no transfer of electron. But what do we have here? We have sharing of electron. But in the case of dative, there is sharing of a lone pair of electron. In our subsequent lecture, we'll look at some of the factors that favors this different types of bonding, and at the same time we'll be able to tell us, and at the same time we'll be able to explain some of the properties of the product of this bonding, which is electrovalent bond. The product, that is electrovalent compound, what are their properties. We'll look at covalent compound, what are their properties. Thank you very much for listening. Until we meet next week, where we are going to take some of these things and identify them on individual basis and look at the properties of the product of this bonding. Thank you.